Okay. Hi, this is Carol Parisi reporting from PAC again. We now have John Fund, and John Fund is with the National Review. And who else you said?
Fox News and the American Spectator.
Fox News, how could I forget that? John, you have a new book out. Can you tell our audience a little bit?
Who's counting? How fraudsters and bureaucrats put your vote at risk. And what it basically describes is that we have the sloppiest election systems of any industrialized democracy. And we are so sloppy in our elections, we provide often an engraved invitation to voter fraud and voter manipulation. And we all have to worry about that. We're speaking in Chicago, which almost invented the concept of voter fraud. You know, there used to be a governor down here who said, when I die, I want to be buried in the city of Chicago because then I can remain politically active.
Oh. Well, yes, I'm sure there are a lot of dead people voting. There are a lot of initiatives going on the grassroots level, like True the Vote, Defend the Vote, Voter Integrity Project. Does this speak to some of those initiatives that are going on?
Because the good news in this book is the citizens can't fight back. There is stuff you can do. We have shown over and over again that just raising this issue and putting up some preventive deterrent measures can dramatically reduce voter fraud. Voter fraud is a lot like shoplifting. You know, if you don't put up signs that say violators will be prosecuted, you don't have cameras in the store, you don't take security precautions, you're going to get a lot of people taking stuff out the door. Voter fraud is the same thing. If you put some risk into the activity, if people think there might be a chance they get caught or someone might be watching, they'll do a lot less of it.
Yeah, but John, as of late, the key battleground states had some signs in areas saying voter fraud is a crime, don't do it. And the promoters of the ad pulled the signs because people were saying...
No, not the promoters. The company, gutlessly, that gave them the billboard space in a contract, violated the contract. So it wasn't the people putting up the sign, it was the people who were intimidated by, I think, the professional race hustlers who basically said just saying voter fraud is a felony punishable by a $10,000 fine and 3.5 years in jail is somehow racist. It's not. It's simply saying we have to make it easy to vote, and we should, but we also have to make it hard to cheat. And I think that in the end we're going to win this argument because remember, photo ID is popular. 74% of Americans back it, 65% of African Americans, 64% of Hispanics. Ultimately, the people who are criticizing these laws do not speak for the communities they claim to be speaking for.
Now, it was a Clearview channel that was...
Clear Channel, the billboard company.
Okay.
That pulled down the signs.
Now, but wouldn't they violating the First Amendment rights of the folks that actually paid for those ads?
It's their private property. What they were violating perhaps is the contract they signed with the group that paid for the ads. But seriously, the controversy, I think, educated a lot of people. Even though the signs came down, everybody's talking about them. And most people are just outraged that simply stating that such and such is a crime is somehow considered unacceptable speech or racist. It's not. Look, racism is of course wrong, but racism is not just in preventing people from voting, it's also in making sure that all of these cities that are governed so badly by political machines, they often steal votes from reform minorities who are trying to take back their city. It happened in Milwaukee, it happened in Detroit, it happened in Chicago, where the machine will steal the votes so people continue to operate under bad public schools, get bad roads, get bad services. So in a sense, one of the reasons so many minorities support photo ID is they don't want voter fraud either, because it's preventing them from getting the kind of government they deserve.
So are you speaking to an initiative of voter ID in this book specifically?
Absolutely. We need to do three things. We need to have photo ID so people know that you are who you say you are. We need to clean up our absentee ballot system because right now absentee ballots which go out in the neighborhood, anything can happen to them. You can be intimidated, you can have your ballot stolen. You know, people can fill out an absentee ballot in the name of a fictitious person. We need to clean up that. We also need to clean up our voter registration rolls. 1 out of 8 of our registrations in this country are either invalid or contain major errors. That's a finding of the Pew Center for Research on the States. We need to make sure our voter lists are actually accurate and really reflect who should be voting, not a bunch of people that are sitting there and somebody can vote in their place.
What can a citizen do to help with this?
Monitor the polls. Go on the website of truethevote.org and other organizations that are fighting for election integrity, and support candidates and support prosecutors who say we want to make voter fraud a serious crime that's actually pursued rather than ignored and pushed off to the side.
Well, thank you, John Fund, and your book is Who's Counting, and that can be
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, better bookstores everywhere.